Megan.
Hello, Michelle.
Welcome to the Spicy Brain
Podcast.
Where we are navigating neurodiversity with joy, curiosity, and
radical acceptance. High kick.
So welcome to anyone who's new. We love having new people. Meg's been bringing a lot of new people on with her Twitch streams. If you haven't caught that from her, definitely check into that. I think there's a Discord now or something where people can talk.
Yeah,
these are all newfangled things that I don't understand very well, but
it's exciting.
Understand it all. Yeah,
we've been doing all the Discord stuff, and that's been great. And yeah, you can like join, and then we have times for talking about good days and bad days and memes and like motivation and all that kind of stuff. It's been really fun.
So if you're returning, you may have caught that my intro was a little bit different. We'll see if anybody figures it out. I might have switched a word here or there because I don't have my card in front of me right now. But I would want to say that we are generally reading a book, right?
Yep.
Usually about something around ADHD or spicy brainness, some neurological kind of component of our brains understanding them better. And then we try to dig into that brain of yours or mine, sometimes both. And then sometimes strategies, but not so much with the
Depends on the day.
People, if you're coming here for strategies, you might need to go to some other like Insta person who has it all figured out. We're still working on it.
I know. We're not experts. We're just sisters.
Just sisters, absolutely. So the current book that we are reading is The Essential Guide to Raising Complex Kids. And we've sort of taken it kind of from two perspectives, right, Meg?
Yeah. We've been taking it from the perspective of actually parenting your kid, but then also parenting your inner child. So I firmly believe that all adulting is just parenting yourself. And so we're learning, like, if you didn't have all the tools you needed when you were a kid, then you're here to, like, we can learn how to parent ourselves.
Absolutely. And so this book has been another meaty one. So if you've ever been following us, you know that we're sometimes maybe like 3 or 4 podcasts on
one chapter.
Like a sentence.
Yes, one sentence, exactly.
One sentence in a book can kind of get us going. And I actually think this chapter might be that for us. We'll see.
Yeah.
So what I wanted us to think about, so I like in her book that she talks about the idea that if you're raising a complex kid, and that might mean raising yourself, that could be neurological or biological.
Right.
And I liked that idea that, you know, if you're raising someone who, for example, in our family, we're gluten-free, dairy-free, that has whole levels of complexity to it. And I could probably have 19 podcasts just about that because let me tell you, like when there's a pizza party at school and your kid isn't supposed to have dairy or gluten, it's fun times. So
fun times.
And you never know, by the way, when that pizza party is coming. So
of course, never
there
know.
are things, right. So there's things like that. And then there's also, you know, obviously the things that we talk about a lot on this podcast, like ADHD. And we're going to be getting into hypersensitivity soon. I think that'll be an interesting kind of variant into it. But in this chapter specifically, she says, and I think she really is honing in more on ADHD, but I was curious if you think this is true and if the people who are listening think it's true, that someone who's got ADHD just does not have a just get it done button.
It's true.
And so I was thinking of those buttons, you know, like they would have at Staples or Office Max or something.
Yes.
And I can't remember what it said when, like, it's hard, or I can't remember whatever it
done.
would say.
Yeah, whatever it is.
Done or whatever it was. And I was sort of thinking of this big red giant get it done button. And I thought, yeah, like there's a gear I go into when I have to get something I don't want to do done.
Yeah.
And I
get
just
it done.
Yeah, I have that button. And she's like, yeah, they just don't have that button. And I was kind of curious if you related to that.
I for sure don't have that button. And I really need to do one little bit of housekeeping real quick before, so my ADHD brain can like actually truly listen. For any of you who are wondering if this audio sounds a little bit different, Michelle is actually on the road right now, and we're trying out
Mm.
cool techie stuff. We're going to see if like we can keep up with her. So there might be a little bit of a delay or there might be some weird stuff, but like we wanted to make sure we still got our podcast out cuz we're trying new stuff. So, uh thank you very much for letting me entertain that part of my brain. uh
Absolutely.
okay, so yes, as far as the get it done button, I do not have one. I just don't. It is
Mm.
not there.
Mm.
It's and even if it's like even if it's something I do enjoy doing, there is no get it done button. It doesn't
Mm.
happen.
So, okay, so I want to know what that I do need to dig in here a little bit because
Yeah.
this is now like me just being nerdy and curious.
Hmm.
So how do you ever get anything done? Right? Because
That's the problem,
you
Michelle.
do get things done though. I have seen it happen. I have
It,
experienced it.
it's
Like you
true.
get the podcast up pretty much every week, right? So
Yeah.
there is something that gets done.
I think it's not like there's not there's not like a get it done button. Like it's not like I can say, okay, and now I'm going to get it done. Um, it's a
Mm.
oh God, I don't even know how do I explain this. There's a
I don't
lot
know.
of connecting things to what I have to get done. So
Mm.
like now, for instance, I know that whenever I go to the aquarium, I know I've got to get a
Mm.
podcast done that day. Like so the getting it done button. And Michelle, this one's actually really hard for me to figure out. Like, how do I get things done? Because this is the problem, right? Like,
Yeah.
I struggle with it, and I don't know what it is that like. It feels like there is this like hamster running around in my brain, and he's like just trying to like keep up, and then every once in a while it like runs a by, and it's like that thing's due. And it's like the hamster's on fire and it's like like I got to get this done and it's time. So I don't know.
Okay. So you don't have control over your button, but there maybe is a button.
Maybe there is. Okay, so like for instance, like my friend Jenza was telling me that she has tabs open. So
Mm.
she has all these tabs open in her brain and
Yeah.
she has like all of the check boxes. And I was like, that is so fascinating. Like, I want a tab. And then
Yeah.
once she's completed something, she actually closes the tab and then it's
Mm.
gone. And so, like, she had something where, like, a friend of hers, like, there was like, the kid, like, her daughter was playing with something and then gave it back and then she like closed the tab and then the friend's mom messaged and said, "Hey, do you know where that thing is?" And she started freaking out and she's like, "Wait, I don't know." She's like going through all of her tabs. Like, I closed the tab. I don't know what happened to it. And uh whereas like if I do have a tab, it's like always open, it never shuts and I'm like, "Oh yeah, I know exactly where that thing is because like it's still there in the very very forefront of my brain because I can't turn the tab off." Or I have
Oh.
a post-it note and the adhesive of the post-it note is very bad and so like I post something up there and then it just falls off.
Yes, I remember us using that analogy before. That was a good one, I thought, of like your
Mhm.
short-term memory not encoding into long-term memory.
But then
The
it's weird
tabs
though,
is fascinating though. The
right?
tabs,
Isn't
I mean,
it?
that's cool. I don't have tabs.
Well, because
No.
she was
I mean,
telling me
not that
about
distinctly.
I think she heard us talking about the stickies and she's like, "Oh my gosh, this is so fascinating. I have tabs." And I was like, "Oh."
Okay.
But now that I'm saying it out loud, like there are some tabs, like there are some things that turn into tabs, like where like I just can't stop thinking about it. And whether I want it or
Mm.
not, it just is like at the forefront and it's like, "You will remember this." Ah.
Do you have an example? Like, do you have an example of that?
Well, I mean, it's like where I put some like I don't know, it's like random. Uh, like I think that's like one of
That
those things like
sounds right.
where yeah, it is. It has nothing to do with what's normal. It's like anything that like feels good in my brain, like right? The wedding
Mm,
gukeki or I have amnesia.
yeah.
Like I just can't stop
Yeah.
thinking about it, and it's this tab that's constantly open. But I also like when she was talking about the friend who called and was like, "Hey, do you know where this is?" Like more than likely,
Mm,
if there's a good story behind it, then I will remember.
mm.
And it's like the story I remember, and then that's like the tab that I kind of can't get rid of. And uh like people like so Brian, okay, so for instance, like Brian and I will watch a show and
Yeah.
he'll remember the people's names, like no problem.
Mm,
And then
mm.
he's like telling, like, we were just watching Paradise that's just out right now. And I guess the guy's name is Xavier, which I've just finally realized after 2 seasons. I realized his name was Xavier because he says to me like something about like, oh yeah, well that's Xavier, Xavier da 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 da. And I was like, and I didn't even recognize it. I was like, who?
What?
And he's like, the
Who's that?
main character of
Yeah.
the show, Megan. And I was like, oh, you mean the Secret Service dude, or like, I don't
Yeah.
remember terms, but I remember like the action that happens around them.
Right. You remember the whole line and plot line and everything,
Well,
probably.
not even the whole plot line because like I have like the best part about watching a show with me is that like if I watch it and then I don't watch it for like a month, I will forget everything. And it's like I get to watch a whole new movie again. Um but like
I have a friend like that at work.
I'll remember like very specific random things that probably no one should remember because it either tickled me or it made me feel a certain way or there was like like there's certain like I will never forget the reason why I stopped watching X-Files was because there was a guy who got into a bath of iodine and it terrified me
Uh,
and I just remember seeing his body and his skin or
uh,
Breaking Bad like the third one of the episodes like where they like disembody a body and like
uh,
in the
uh,
tub and I was like nope I'm done
not doing that.
but I it's seared into my brain now so
Right.
like both good and bad can be seared into my brain and yeah so like when she was sorry so when she was talking about the wand I probably like whatever the thing was that her friend was looking for I was like I would have known exactly where it went because the sticky would never have gone away it would have been like yep that was there like I know where it is so I think that that's the part that's hard.
So do you think that, like, okay, say like you were going to go press a button to get something done, right?
Yeah,
So you have this room that you're trying to finish before our mother comes to live with you for a few months, right?
right, which
And
Brian
it's
calls
it's
the final frontier and I could not remember the name of it and I just kept calling it the Forbidden Planets. Because I think it makes a perfect sense. It's like there's all these tasks I have to do, and in my mind, it's forbidden. Don't go in there. Just close it off.
our bed and done good. That's like a quick quit, I think.
Yeah.
We used to talk about that, the quick quit, right? Oh my
Mm-hmm.
God. So all right. So my question to you though is so now like you're like, okay, I gotta get this thing done,
Yeah.
right? And you're saying what like in your mind, what happens if you press that button? Like say there was a button that was like, okay, Meg, time to get this done.
Right.
What would happen?
Well, I don't assume. I don't assume that that there's a button. Like, okay, so let's just take the final frontier for a second. Okay, let's. So, like,
Yeah.
for instance, I walked in there today thinking like I got to get this done because we were talking about you guys coming and I'm like, okay, I can do this. So I literally walked in
Yeah.
and I was like, okay, Megan, we're not going to do anything specific. We're just going to walk in and see what we see. And I saw papers and I saw makeup brushes that I need to figure out. And I saw all the stuff that I saw all of these these decisions. And then
Uh,
I like my brain's hurting just thinking about it right now, thinking about what I saw. And so then
okay.
I walked in and I was like, "Yep, this is why it's hard." And then I walked right back out.
Okay, so wait, I want to break this down though for a minute. So you said your brain hurts. We've talked about this before, but what does it feel like? Because a lot of people say, "Oh, that hurts my brain to even think about it," right? Very
Yeah.
common phrase I've heard. But
Mhm.
what does that mean for you? Because my brain doesn't hurt when I think about cleaning out that room.
Mm.
If anything, I probably get like a little like dopamine, like weird Michelle, yay, I get to finally,
Yeah.
finish it or something. Hit.
Yeah, I don't get a dopamine hit. Um, it it,
It seems it seems in fact the opposite of that.
yes, yes, exactly. Well, the brain is like my brain is like it's like right here on the left side of my head, it just feels very pressure filled, and
Mm,
it's like just like this throbbing that's happening in the left side of my brain. And what's
mm,
interesting is, like, I was thinking about, like, what makes it different from that versus, like, the other day when we actually walked in and I, like, literally like, it was like the whole room was just I had just, like, shoved everything in there, and then I
mhm.
started getting frustrated, like, when I had to move things, like, I started having a little temper tantrum when you were like, "Okay, let's just move stuff into the other bathroom," and I'm like, "Why am I gonna move stuff into the bathroom? Because 'Cause I'm just moving stuff around and it's not actually doing anything," and I was so mad.
You were so
So
mad. Yeah,
and then
so mad.
but what I realized is, like, in those moments, like, when I am not ready or I don't feel like I have control over it, it does feel like a cheese grater is grating on my brain.
Mm, mm,
And I think that that's the part that's, like, hard, is that, like, I need help doing stuff, but then if I get the help, it's like, it sucks to be somebody who loves me sometimes because it's like I'm asking for help, but then the help that they're giving me hurts. And
yeah,
trying to figure out,
yeah.
like, what is the best way to get stuff done is
Mm.
so hard.
Yeah, it's so hard, right? It's hard for you and like you said, the people who love you sometimes. I
Mhm.
I wonder like if this idea of a button is just like the idea of like not having one is because there is no you don't have control over this kind of ever.
Yeah, that's
Or
probably
is
true.
it that or is it that you just have to set up the right conditions for the button to work? This
Mm.
is my question, I guess. I don't know the answer at all. I just am curious about it because I wonder about that. Because
Yeah,
sometimes you get an incredible amount of stuff done, right? And
it's true.
it doesn't always have to be stuff you like either to do it.
True.
Helps usually helps, but
I've wondered about this, like, if you set up the right conditions,
mm,
and I don't know if that's, like, actually a thing because what I've noticed is that, like, when I'm trying to work through something, I don't I don't know, like okay, for instance, like the sleeping, right? It's like set up the room, like set it up so it's like all nice and, like you have like this little uh like nice sounds and a nice smell and like, not those are the same things. Nice
but
but like, that you have like like you're setting yourself up for success. And I
yeah, sensorially everything is going to be as calming as possible or whatever is good for you.
right. But, like,
Yeah.
I realized that, like, after maybe a couple weeks, like, I struggle to maintain uh, a through line with that,
Mm, mm,
and I don't continue doing that. Even like, okay, let's say something as basic as, like, brushing my teeth and washing my face. I've been doing that since I was a kid, and
right.
I don't have, like, a specific routine that I do each time. And
Mm.
then even if I do, I can't remember, did I do because I do it every single day, I've literally gone to bed and thought like, "Did I actually brush my teeth and wash my face, or am I remembering the thing I did yesterday?"
Mm. Or
And
sort of the sense memory of it, like you did in acting school. Like I remember what that feels like to do it.
yeah, and it's like but like I honestly don't remember like I will have done it. I will have brushed my teeth. Like I can I think the teeth is
Mm,
the only way that I can actually kind of know
mm,
is because sometimes I can taste it, but then I have this new toothpaste that doesn't have much of a taste 'cause, like, it's, like, prescription stuff. So, like, right now, I just brushed my teeth a little while ago, and I can taste that I have brushed my teeth, but, like, this new stuff, I can't taste it. So, I realized, like, oh, I use a lot of sensory stuff to remember if I've done something or not. And I
Oh, that's interesting.
yeah, so, like, if I or, like, I have a bite guard for, like, my clenching of my jaw. So, like, if I don't have the
Yeah.
bite guard in, I know I didn't brush my teeth because that's usually, like, the final step of brushing my teeth. But then there are some days where I brush my
Uh,
teeth, but I forget to put the bite guard in because 'cause I'm, like, trying to do my floss, and I can't floss until
yeah.
I put the bite guard in, and so then I just forget to put the bite guard in. So, like, it's a constant struggle for just, like, the basics.
Okay, so I'm gonna out myself on something that I've never really had this happen until the last like 2 months. And I've been, particularly stressed and whatnot, but I made coffee. I pour it into the coffee mug,
Mhm.
and then I go back and I'm like, did I make coffee? And
Mhm.
now it's warm, right? So you would think I would have gone, well, it's warm and the coffee grounds are not dry.
Yeah.
So you probably made coffee. But I was so disoriented that I had forgotten because I didn't sleep well the night before that I didn't remember if I had poured the coffee. Like I did all the
Yes.
steps, right? I
Yes.
did all the steps and did not remember. And then made a whole nother batch because I'm like, well, and I don't even see where I put the cup, which again, not very much like me. But I didn't even know where the cup was. So I just made a whole nother batch. And I thought, oh my God, this must be what Megan's talking about all the time.
Yes, that
Is
is
like
$100%.
you don't know if you just did something and if every single thing, like you're really kind. You're a very nice person.
Mhm.
I don't think I would be as nice or as kind. In fact, I know I would not be. Like you're very patient actually with yourself. Cause
Yeah.
I was sitting there going like, oh my God, because it's really easy then to say horrible things to yourself after that.
Yeah. I
Right?
mean
Because you're like automatically like, "Oh, I'm an idiot. I should have figured this
yeah.
out." Whatever. I mean, was going through my mind anyway. So I could imagine, we're always saying like, "Oh, be nice to yourself." Well, it's hard to be nice to yourself when you're an intelligent being
Mhm.
and you can't remember if you made your coffee.
Yeah. Or
You
if you
know,
brush your
it would
teeth.
be, yeah, maddening. Or if you
Yeah.
brushed your teeth. Yeah, absolutely.
No,
Anyway,
I
I
think
just
that
was
no, I
thinking of
think
you
that that's
the other morning
why
because I thought maybe that's what it's like.
no, and I appreciate that 'cause I do think that that's why I struggle and
Mm,
like, why it is hard for me to just accept that I am not, like it's to be nice. Like, having to be nice to myself has taken a lot of time, and it has been
right.
hard earned. And I think that that's been the challenge for me. It's like I haven't felt like I've been kind to myself. I'm much kinder than I am now, but,
Mm,
yeah, like, I mean, that is 100% exactly how it goes. Like, I it doesn't occur to me, like, I made the coffee twice. Like, yep, I did. I made the coffee twice, and I will make it multiple I'll make it a third time because 'cause I'm like, I won't even remember the second time I did it, and it's like reading like, that's for me also is reading. It's like I
right.
read a line, and then I have to go back and read it again, and then I read it a third time, and it's like the fifth time, I'm like, "Okay, wait, now Megan, really focus on what these words are and what they mean." And that's I think the maddening part is that there are some days that my brain can read perfectly, and it, like, understands it,
Mm.
like or not perfectly, but, like, it's a lot easier to read. And then there are other days where it's, like, 5 times, minimum, 5 times per line just to figure out what it is I'm reading, and that's the part that makes it feel like somehow I'm bad, because, like, if I can do it well one day, why can't I do it well the next day? And there must be something that I am
Mm.
doing that makes this, like, that makes it, uh, difficult. Like, that makes it, like right now, like, I'm literally
Right.
hearing, like, my voice kinda coming back to me every once in a while, and it's, like, distracting me. It's, like,
Yeah.
distracting me from, like, what I can do, and so, like, I think, like, "Okay, there must be something that my brain is doing wrong, because like,
Mm.
this doesn't bother other people, or maybe I don't know, maybe it does, but, like, definitely, like, if something is a bit easier, like, there are days, like, when I'm very super productive, and I'm like, "Okay, well, why can't I be productive those days, and then other days I can't be
Right.
productive?"
Right, and how maddening if you're always thinking like, "Okay, if I set the right conditions up, I'm gonna be able to press that get it done button."
Right. But even if I
But
set the right
really, the
conditions
reality
up
is you're not. It's
right.
not true.
And this is, like,
Yeah.
why it sucks because it's like, okay, so especially in school, it's like, okay, well, I genuinely can't I can't tell you why I'm gonna feel better one day or another. So if like you have a
Mm,
if you have an exam on the day that your brain is not working well, and that is like, let's say, half of your grade, and
right.
you're screwed. Like, I was screwed. So it's like it's so frustrating because it's like I don't know what day what brain I'm gonna wake up with. And so then when that happens, then it makes it even harder because then I get more anxious, and then like that's why the comorbidities come in. I get anxious and then I don't want to
Mm.
deal with it, and then I'm like freaking out. And so it's all of these things together, and it's really hard.
Yeah, and I wonder now, like as an adult, kind of talking about this, like parenting yourself, what you do now or what you wish little Rosie, we always talk about little Rosie, right? The little 4 or 5 year old version of yourself
Mhm.
would have might have helped. Like what is, you know what I mean? What are the things that we're saying to ourselves or saying to our kids, or maybe I'm saying to Josh, sort of whether it's overtly or, you know, just through my reaction to things, even. Like sometimes I feel like even if I just breathe wrong,
Mhm.
this can be very telling to him that he's reading a whole host of emotions that may or may not be how I feel exactly, right? But he's reading into it in ways as well.
It's
Like
interesting the
what might have
breathing
helped.
wrong, because I think that over like what I've found, like I'm so hyper aware of what somebody else is thinking or going through because I've been told so often, like, well, you could do this yesterday. Why can't you do it today? Or why can't you just like all these things that we've talked about?
Mm,
And then you
mhm,
start, like, especially if you get it from like, like one or two people, then you start saying whatever it is they've said before, you start saying it back to yourself. And so then like
mm,
become so hyper aware that like I don't even have to know, like you don't even have to finish saying what you're going to say. I know what you're thinking, and or I assume I know what you're thinking because like I'm trying to not
mhm,
get pummeled in my own brain.
mm. Say more about that. What do you mean pummeled in your own brain?
Well, I hear negative stuff way louder than I hear positive stuff. So when
Mm,
I'm messing up, it
yeah.
feels like I am really messing up. Like I am messing up I'm like just messing up so big because I amplify it in my
Hmm.
head. And I heard somebody say, uh, you're I'm saying something in a volume 2, but you're hearing it as volume 10.
Mm,
And I think like that is trauma. And like when it's like when everything I do is wrong, or when I'm never like, when my brain is the thing that's the issue, I hear all of that and all of that past trauma in anything that somebody says that might even sound like a criticism, or like that sounds like a problem.
mhm.
Does that
Interesting. So you're saying it, yeah. So I just make sure I understand it a little bit anyway. Is that I'm saying, Meg, I'm really disappointed that you're late,
Mhm.
right? And you're hearing what?
Like, I know I am disappointed in myself, and you're right. Like, I'm a fucking loser, and it's horrible. And like, yes, like this is just something
Yeah,
that always happens, and I can't help it. But like, I don't know why. Like, I don't know why I do this. I'm not sure why I'm always late, but I am always late, and I start spiraling
yeah, yeah. And
because I
then
think if
as the
I,
person who's receiving it, you're
mm-hmm,
in this like whirlwind too, going, okay, wait, now how do we get out of this? Right? Like, how do we break this cycle? Because that wasn't what I meant, right?
right, and I think
Maybe.
like in that
Yeah.
moment there is no breaking it. Like like it's like you just
Mm,
have to kind of like walk away and like not be triggered anymore because like once I'm triggered, like it's really hard to come off of it. Uh,
mm,
so like I think it's about like taking a second and saying, hey, like figuring out like a way to have a break. And I can also see that too, depending if that's like I don't know. This is where it gets tough, right? I can see having a break could also feel like someone's just walking away and not wanting to deal with it. So there is
Mhm.
some give and take to it, but I think like, I can't figure something out until I have processed and calmed down. The other thing that's really
Yeah.
hard is that like, even if like I calm down and I process it, I'm never going to be on time. Like it's just something that
Right.
I physically like maybe some days I can, but there are other days where I'm not going to be. And so like that's the part that's hard. Like I was listening to a friend and he was saying that he got to work an hour early. So that like and I would assume that like he's getting to work an hour early because he doesn't know if he's going to make it on time or not. And it's like you have to be on time and so now I have to waste an hour of my day to make sure that I am arbitrarily on time. And it's just like it's just so frustrating.
Yeah, because this is really about, again, being in what is potentially called like a neurotypical setup, right? The world's set up in this way, but that's not really what your brain fits into.
Yeah, and it's just it doesn't feel fair. And that's the part that it's like this whole thing of like, okay, well
Mm.
we all have to do this. It's like it doesn't feel fair. It doesn't feel fair that like other people get to just roll into work and then I have to like be there an hour early in order to make sure I'm on time. And it doesn't feel fair. And I that's the part like where when things start feeling fair for me, that's when I start shutting down.
Mm.
Like even right now, like
It's interesting.
I can see the
Yeah, I
people
can hear
who
your
would
energy's lower.
yeah, like who I could see that I can remember the people who just like literally would just waltz in and they always were able to get there on time and it just didn't bother them. And it was just like, this is so frustrating.
Yeah, and I think, as you're talking about, I hear the frustration and also the idea that when you're younger, you don't have the language to discuss it with people.
Yeah.
Then you're just in this constant state of getting pummeled. And and once you have the language to describe it or discuss it, sometimes that can help things, right? But I mean, not always, but it definitely can. If you're saying, this is who I am, and you did that in this last job, you said, this is who I am. This is, I'm not going to apologize for it. And they selected you anyway, right?
Yeah.
And I mean, some things happened with the government that, made the job no longer available. But that was so different than any other time I remember you having interactions like that or trying to understand how you're going to fit into this neurotypical world.
Yeah. And like forcing yourself into that neurotypical world. But the problem is that like, a lot of these starter jobs, they all require you to be on time. And so it's like
Right.
it's just how do you get experience and work if you have to punch in every single day? You can't say to them like, "Hey, I'm neurodivergent." Well, maybe you could. Maybe I guess you could like say, "Hey, I'm neurodivergent, and this is like a reasonable accommodation." I've never tried that. I mean,
Right.
I probably could have. I probably could have asked them like, "Hey, this is what I am and who I am, and like, this is my reasonable accommodation that I'm asking for." It would be interesting to see if they would
Well,
actually do that.
absolutely. I guess one question I had is, so another podcast we had talked about this idea of reaction,
Hmm.
the idea of like that you're going to just kind of respond versus react. And I wanted to talk about that in this context a little bit because I think it's really hard. And I think you've worked really hard at this to respond to your brain versus
Mm.
react to your brain. And I don't know that you're 100% there, right, with it, but I see it certainly with other people. You do it regularly. But I wondered, is that something that you've noticed either improvement or difference in within how you're responding to understanding now that you understand a little bit more how your brain works?
Yeah, I think I have been kinder to myself now that I understand how my brain works. I think I
Mm.
find myself still beating myself up a little bit here and there, but then I notice I'm beating myself up and then I stop and I'm like, wait, Megan, no, stop, 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 stop. No, this is like, it's okay. Let yourself relax or do whatever it needs to do. Like, right, like recently, like I've just been
Mhm.
so tired and normally I would like really beat myself up for it, but I was like, I did a lot the last couple of weeks, and I was like trying out, I was trying to help out more and volunteer more and do things that I just normally don't do. And like I got so tired to the point like where this past Wednesday when I went to the aquarium to volunteer, I was not my normal, just like let's go at it, excited to talk to everybody's self. Like I noticed like I just had to conserve, and so I didn't do as much like seeking out people. I just sort of was there and was like, okay, if somebody comes to me, I will talk to them, but like I'm not going to do what I normally do and like try to look for people and like say hello. And, like that's just was too much energy. And I think in the past, I would have been like, man, Megan, like you messed up so big. Like you were so tired and like you overextended yourself. And so now you wouldn't be able to do the thing that you normally want to do. And then I was like, you know what? I watch a lot of people who are not me, who don't interact with people, like, and they just wait for someone to come up to them. So I'm basically doing what I think
Sure.
the majority of people do. And that's okay. Like, I just need to learn from this. And I need to, like, this is all data and this is all information. And I need to learn, like, hey, I overdid it. And I need to be
Yeah.
aware and conscious of, like, okay, if just because people are asking me to do stuff doesn't mean that I have to do it. And
Right.
it's hard to say no.
Oh yeah. And I think what's interesting as you were saying that this is data, I really like that approach because it takes away the judgment from yourself as well.
Yeah.
Like I'm just gathering data to see what's working, what isn't working. And
Mhm.
and what I feel is so hard and what I think for so long I was always trying to do is I was always trying to gather data around you too to try to quote unquote be helpful.
Mhm.
And Josh and I had an interaction last night around math. Again, you'll figure.
Mm.
And I do have permission to talk about these things that he's given me that permission. So thank you, Josh. But he's a senior and he's getting ready for his AP exams. And all I wanted to do was to be able to help, but the things I was doing were not at all helpful.
Yeah.
And he started down that road of, I don't know why I'm like this. I don't know, and going on this whole thing. And then, it I was trying to like sort of quote unquote calm him down. That wasn't working. I was trying to acknowledge where he was at. That wasn't working. He just needed to be in it at that moment. And I realized too, though, that I had triggered it. So then I was feeling bad. Then I had, because in my attempt to help,
Mm.
which it was help that was not really even asked for, it was just
Mhm.
me being, Badinsky, getting in there being like, oh, I know what can help you. Then that caused him stress. And finally, at the end of this whole sort of interaction, and part of it was he was really stressed, I think, and hadn't been expressing it. So it had sort of bunched up, right,
Mhm.
as well.
Yeah.
But I I think part of what was interesting is that it was the first time for me that I just said, you know what, I need to walk away from this, and this is, but I'm telling you right now, this isn't because I don't love you. This isn't because I'm mad at you. This isn't mine to hold, right? Like I can't. If you need me, come and find me. But this isn't mine to hold. And so what happened was I went away and I went and relaxed in my bedroom and watched a show or whatever I wanted to do. And about like 45 minutes later, he came in and he's like, well, here's my plan.
Mm.
Here's what I think is going to work for me. Here's what I think needs to happen. And I know I can do about an hour of work, sometimes only 30 minutes of work, and then I need a break. And I'm going to have to take regular breaks and I'm not going to get all of it done. I'm not going to be completely prepared for that test on Monday, but this is what I'm going to do. And this is how I'm going to do it. And I thought, wow, both of us, well, he's grown much further than I have, but
Mm.
both of us have grown, I think, through sort of doing this podcast and thinking about my own parenting and just us talking a lot, he and I. But that really, there's also sometimes nothing you can do for the other person
Yeah.
other than acknowledge that you love them, you care about them, and that can be so hard, especially as a parent.
Yeah, it's really hard. It's like someone who you love, like it to just to like say like I don't there's nothing I can do to help and to just like be in the feels with them. Like I think it's a
Yeah.
really interesting point though. You're like, okay, well, I can't like it's not your feelings are not for me to hold on to, which I think was really really smart on your part. And it gave him a chance to kind of like figure out and calm down and like soothe himself and decide
Mhm.
what he wanted to do. And I think like it's interesting, like, if we're taking the perspective of like, okay, the forbidden planet. I still call it the
You're
forbidden
the
planet.
room, the,
Mom's
the
room.
room that the room you have not yet cleaned out for our mother. Yes. Yes.
Yes. Like, I would be curious if like like if the help is like, hey Meg, let's think about the forbidden planet today. And I want
Mhm.
you just to like think about like what you could do in there. And
Mhm.
like that's the help, right? It's like, hey, I know you don't have stickies, so I'm gonna just like give you this like blank sticky, and let's just see, if you've got adhesive today or not. And
Mhm.
you'll know what you need to do. Like you'll know what's best for yourself. It's just like, but is today a day that like that sticky's gonna stay up or is it not? Because it may or may not. But I'm just gonna give you a post-it note. And
Mhm.
I want you to write on there like what is it like. And so for me today, it's the forbidden planet. Now maybe the fact that like it's being called the forbidden planet today means that like today is not the day for me to do it, and that
Because it's
like
forbidden.
it's forbidden, right?
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
maybe
Yeah.
maybe it is that like, tomorrow I might remember it's called the final frontier. And if I can remember it's called the final frontier,
Mm.
then that means that my brain is more receptive to it. And
Yes. And I
yeah.
think this is the key too when you're saying this. And sorry for interrupting, but as a parent, thinking about that is there's some due date, right? That they're given,
Mhm.
and you are worried about that due date. And
Yeah.
you're making them worry about that due date. And the teacher's making them worry about that due date. And all of that is there. And so that's why accommodations are something to very much consider,
Yeah.
right? That a variable due date might be needed, not because somebody doesn't want to get something done or somebody is incompetent, but because they just didn't wake up with that sticky
Mhm.
part of the sticky note that morning.
Yeah. Like if I had had that accommodation at work where it's like, okay, I'm going to probably be on time 80 to 90% of the time. But then there's those
Right.
10% days like where it's just going to be too difficult for me to come. Then give me some grace and leeway on those days. But like if I could have said to them like, hey, there are some days that the adhesive is stronger than others and be able to explain
Right.
that to people, that's a totally
Yeah.
different thing than me saying, I need to be able to come and go whenever I please. Well, okay. So
Right.
how do we so let's talk about this reasonable accommodation. Great. Okay. Can you let me know ahead of time that you're running late? Oh, well, that I can do. Yeah. I could, like, I know like, I know I can feel that I'm running late. I can let you know. That way you can, be aware of what's happening. And it just, I've already
Well,
distracted
because on the
myself.
others, well, but on the other side of the fact that you might need some variability with time, right?
Hmm.
That you might need some leeway with that. You also, on the other side, what they're getting is someone who, when you're there, you're extremely present, generally
Hmm.
speaking,
Yeah.
right? And so you're the one who connects the most with customers. You were their high salesperson and all these things. You were the person who got the most new businesses signed up to do the Apple stuff. I mean, you also are that person, and I think that's the part that is so difficult, is that this idea in being fair,
Hmm.
we're not equitable. We're not
Yes.
equitable because no, people do not get in trouble for being a little off at work, but they do get in trouble generally, right?
Hmm.
Like you don't get in trouble because you didn't make eye contact with everybody and say hi to everybody, but you do get in trouble when you're late.
Yeah.
And I think that's, one of the things that when we think about management, and I manage a lot of people, so when you think about that, I'm always looking to try to match the right kind of job with the person. I know everyone says the opposite, but I think this is really true, is that I don't put certain people on opening shift.
Mm.
They're terrible at it, right? I just don't even ask them ever to open up the place, like the
Yeah.
the testing center. I just don't ask them to do it because, but they're the exact person who, if you want them to review 1,000 videos,
Hmm.
they do it quickly and efficiently, and they're the best at that. So I don't know. I think that this idea of factory worker mentality, in a sense of you have to get somewhere to be on time to do the things that should be looked at within accommodation or disability kind of concept. Like we wouldn't ask somebody in a wheelchair to run up the stairs to go get the supplies from the supply closet.
Yep.
We just wouldn't do it. So somebody else would do that because it makes more sense. But that same person, because they're sitting, they're wheelchair bound and they're sitting flush to the floor, is probably going to be able to make eye contact with little children easier. You know what I mean? Or whatever, right? Like it's just looking
Yeah.
at this and not looking at it from what you can't do, but what you can do. And I think that get it done button really makes it feel like it's a what you can't do.
Right. And the reality is like there are natural consequences. So,
Mm,
everybody like so I was thinking about like, okay, there's this item that's due and mom and dad are like pushing like, hey, to remind them that it's due, and the teacher's telling the same thing. And it's like at some point,
mhm.
if you don't get it done, there's a consequence for it. And that's the like natural thing that you have to learn. And
Yeah.
that has actually helped me to like recalibrate and focus on like what I find important. And so for it to not be like, hey, you screwed up, kid, but more of like, oh, I don't like the way I feel when that consequence
Mhm.
happens. And I feel like that's a
Mhm.
very different place to come from than to say like, oh, I'm just doing this because everyone's telling me to do it and I want them to get off my back.
Yeah, absolutely. And even when that's true, sometimes you still can't do it.
Right. Exactly.
Your brain isn't letting you. So I think that's where the whole idea of communicating what's what our brains do. And for me, I tell people like whenever I taught, I would say, listen, there's no spell check on the board. I'm dyslexic, so you're going to see me spell something wrong. Can you
Mhm.
please let me know nicely? Teenagers who are never night. No, they always were,
Yeah.
because I told them ahead of time what to expect. They understood it wasn't because, and I never took it as there's anything wrong with my intelligence.
Right.
Right. So I owned that this happened and that it was frustration and it was always going to happen because I didn't know it didn't always happen, but it would happen at times I couldn't control.
Mhm.
So that idea of owning who we are is the responsibility for us, I think, to teach our inner child and teach our kids.
Mhm.
And then on the other end, it's like, can we please create a community where that is acceptable?
Yeah. Well, and that's like
Right.
making me think about I got a ticket a couple weeks
Mm,
ago when I was working at the aquarium. They have a parking
mm,
pass that you can put up on your dashboard so that you don't get in trouble and like you don't get a ticket. And
okay.
I forgot. Like my ADHD
Yeah.
just completely forgot. And so then I come back and I got a ticket. And so I sent in all my information of like, oh, I'm so sorry. Like here's what happened. And which like I was working that day and I was supposed to be in that lot and I just didn't, here's my badge and here's my number, all that stuff.
Yeah.
And they just
Yeah.
sent me back another message saying, okay, well, we've observed this. And the fact is that you still did do that. You still forgot to post
Do the thing.
your thing. And
Yeah.
like, luckily, like, it went from, like, a $50 ticket down to a $10 ticket. However, there's still
Yeah.
part of me that kinda wants to, like, get a piece of like, a document from my doctor that says, like, "No, I have a documented disability that does not allow me to remember these things, and I should not be penalized for the fact that, like, I can't always remember." And, like, there's a
Right.
part of me that kind of wants to do that. I was like, "Okay, I'll just pay for it, whatever, it's no big deal." But then a part of me is like, "Wait, this is gonna happen multiple times to me probably when I do this." And so it's like, I want to, like, establish that, like, "Hey, I should not be getting in trouble for this. Like, this is ridiculous. Like, I
Right.
had all this stuff. I'm providing you with that
Right.
information, and you're telling me that I still, uh, don't get it." Like, do I need to, like, have my disability paperwork to give you to show you that, like, this is why? So
Or
yeah.
also, is there a sticker I could put on my car so I don't
Right?
have to remember to put it on the
Oh,
dashboard?
I should
Right. I
ask
mean,
them
there's so
that.
many options.
Yeah,
I
I should
just think
mention that
that
to them.
especially you're volunteering there,
I
you're
know.
giving of your time. So that's kind of wild, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, it's completely wild. It's like, guys,
Yeah.
are you telling me that? But like, I guess the city owns that lot. I guess they monitor that lot. I don't even understand
Mm,
how this works, but I'm like,
mm.
there has to be a better system or a setup because like I will forget. Like I can't help it. I will forget. And yeah, like could there
And
be
I
a
think the
sticker?
idea of forgetting, yeah, and I think the idea of forgetting is so hard, right? That it's invisible.
Yeah.
There's nothing, there's no like brace on your head that people can see that you have that particular issue. And I think this is partly why it really takes so much effort and energy for the person themselves and for the family to really think through, like, how do you talk about this stuff? How do you make sure, because you're having to do so much advocacy all the time. And
All the time.
the only thing I can liken to is having to go gluten free, and like every time I have to tell people exactly what I need from them
Mhm.
every single time. And it's never going to change. That's always going to be the way it is, unless I go to some like gluten free place, right?
Yep.
And so, unless we live in a gluten free world, unless we live in a place that is accommodating, and really, I don't know that, that you can control the whole rest of the world for sure. You
Mm.
cannot. But I think one place we can start is our own homes.
Yeah. That is true.
And so how do we start to create neuro-friendly spaces in our homes? And I'm saying this for me as much as anybody, right? Like I don't have this figured out because obviously there was a complete meltdown last night at my house. So just outing myself 100%. Like, there was just, it was just this whole thing where we're like, just okay, well, then quit, and then all this stuff going on. So, and I know anybody who has experienced it themselves and har parented a kid who's got, complex needs, this happens.
Yeah.
It's not like you can look back at your whole parenting life and be like, oh, I'm some kind of, leave it to beaver, like everything's, mild and mellow all the time. But what might we be able to do to make it a bit more neuro-friendly from the beginning?
Well, and like what that's making me think, especially with this like sticker situation, is that okay, maybe right now I don't need to go and like fight the system. It's like, okay, the amount of
Mhm,
energy and effort it would take for me to actually do that, uh, just pay the
mhm,
$10, but then go to my home, go to the aquarium and say, hey guys, this is actually a very stressful thing. And you guys, like, they've been talking a lot about disability and accommodating and doing that for our customers. I'm like, you guys should really be focused on this for us because it's not fair to like, like, why can't we have a sticker? That would be so simple. Like, can we just do that?
mhm.
And so that I don't have to worry about this every time. Cause like, this is a barrier to entry. This is a barrier for me to like actually get here. I'm gonna start freaking out about it. And I did. Like
Right.
yesterday, like on Wednesday, I was just like, I forgot again. And like I had to like walk back to my car and I was like, oh, I was beating myself up a little bit. And I'm like, oh God, that's right. You're supposed to remember to do this. But like I can't remember if I did it that day or not. Like, did I do it? Did I like I think I did it and it's like,
Yeah.
oh, I didn't, so it's just like, oh, it's so yeah, I could ask my home like let's make the accommodation here first. So like how do we just and I was actually thinking, I was like, maybe what I could do is just get like a piece of Velcro and then just like Velcro it to my dash.
Ah,
So then it's just there. It's
yeah.
just always
So it's
there.
there.
Cause I was like,
Always there. I
this is
love
just too
that.
hard for me to remember.
Yeah. No, that makes complete sense.
But
But it's also
then
having to think about that.
right. But then the other thing is like the problem with it being on the dash is that like sometimes the white of it's a white piece of cardboard. And so like the white can
Mm,
actually reflect
mm.
back. And so I thought, well, maybe I could if you could put it on like the window, that would be better. So maybe I'll just like Velcro to the window like our fast pass has. It's like there's like we have a fast pass for
Yeah.
like the tolls. Like why can't I have that for the car? But I could just get a sticker and just
Right?
stick it right there on my window
Make your own sticker of it.
or in like the back of my
Absolutely.
window or something. I don't know.
I
I'll have
I
to figure
think
it
it's
out.
so, you will. And I think that's, though, speaks to that it's everything like that,
Mhm.
right? It's not just this sticker. It's remembering, to go pick up water bottles, or it's remembering to get your backpack ready, or it's remembering to do
To
whatever all the
eat.
memory pieces are to eat. Yes. Yes.
Like
I
if
think
I
that's why there is such a high correlation between eating disorders and ADHD, right?
right. I mean, like
One of
honestly,
the
if I
reasons.
hadn't if breathing wasn't voluntary, like I would probably forget.
I don't know. Oh my gosh, I'm so glad. I'm glad your head is attached,
Me
right?
too.
It's
Right.
good. It's good.
Thank goodness.
Oh, well, thank you so much for talking to me about this today. I am endlessly fascinated by your brain. It's why we started doing this podcast, but also it's helped me to understand my own and
Mhm.
my kids so much better. So I always appreciate when you let me dig in a little bit more. So I appreciate that today.
Absolutely. Well, thanks for letting me be here and, you know, talk through it. And thanks for everybody for letting us try this new format. It's kind of interesting.
Love you.
I love you too.
Bye.
Bye. Thanks for listening to the Spicy Brain podcast brought to you by Spicy Brain Studios. This journey today, we talked a lot about this mythical just get it done button. And you know what? It seems like I still am searching for it, while everyone else seems to have it figured out. But next week, we're going to dive into the strategy for actually how to push that button. Or honestly, maybe just to find the dang thing in the first place. I'm not sure. But next week, we'll be doing that. Make sure to follow or subscribe on your favorite podcast app. And if you're enjoying the show, it really helps us if you leave a review. It helps other neurospicy folks find their way here too. But until then, here is to a great end of the week. And remember, Michelle, we're going to stay curious
And joyful.
with a whole lot of radical acceptance. High kick.